school. Oh my God. Manners aren't old school, right? And I thought it was, I'm going to ask you like your thought about it, but I thought it was like a no-brainer kind of thing.
Sup, people? What's happening? Kilo Shele, how on a day? Welcome to Shrine Podcast, the show where we'll be bringing you bants with a side of serious things since 2019. My name is Akindare, your host. With me on the show today is...
I don't know what I'm saying.
Go, expect it.
I don't know why I'm smiling so much.
Expect when I drop there.
Yeah, I'm proud
roll
of you.
off
I'm
the
proud
tongue,
of you.
you know, what an intro. Yeah,
I'm proud of you. Well done.
Please don't know G before I do that. Imagine shaking it. It's 2019. Come on.
Hi everyone. My name is Jemima. Jem for short.
My intro was so bad. Jemima had to catch her breath. She was just taking her back. We're sure, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did good.
That's normal. Okay. Welcome everyone. Let's do check-ins real quick.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay, number.
What's the happiness number?
Let's see. Happiness number. Happiness is a myth these days. So.
Happiness will not be a myth in your life. Jesus name. Kilo day.
I would say 8.
8. Happiness number. I feel like
no, not bad.
I feel like a recurrent thing.
It's been 8.
No, well, yes.
Okay.
I think every episode we've done this in this new season, you've been on 8.
It's my lucky number.
But also, like, I just feel like you always do better than me. Like, you always have a higher number.
What's your number?
Like,
not 5 or 2.
No. I've never been below 5. Which, in hindsight, is actually,
it's not bad.
It's not bad. I've not been below 5 this year.
You can't get to 10. Nobody can get to 10. If you're aiming for 10, I'm here to tell you.
Hey, listen. So I just feel like only row combined. Don't let David get like I feel like get the guy when they go.
That will take you to 10.
Okay, maybe not a 10. What? Like I like a 9.5,
9.98.
9.98. You get. But my happiness number for this week is, I'll say, a 7.
7. Okay.
It's been a decent week.
Anything interesting happen?
This I'm actually trying to think about it right now. Like, it's quite a blur, but
when your week is quite a blur.
Yeah, it's quite a blur in the sense that like it feels like so much happened and like and like not much happened at the same time.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you get? But I it feels like a good week because I went to the gym. I did. I did some work. It didn't feel like I left anything. I left much on the table.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like, damn people, we're touching.
You earned your personal 2K.
Okay, let's tell the people the wine that we have on the show today before we get going. Today we have Chenin Blanc. Chenin Blanc. Chenin. This is the name.
I'm just looking at it now. Does it say Sainsbury's? So is it a Sainsbury's wine?
It says Sainsbury's So Organic, which I think there are 2 tiers of things that they sell that Sainsbury's sells, like its own branded thing. There are those that are like just those Stamford Street and those are like the cheapest.
Yeah.
Then above that, then I have like this So Organic and I think, is it Taste Delight or something? They have one other line, right?
All right.
But I don't think it necessarily means that like Sainsbury's produce those things.
Oh, okay.
What I think it means that like these vendors are just like part of that program with Sainsbury's, right? So they will make this thing, but because it comes in at a certain price point, it qualifies for, and this is all just there.
I don't like. Okay. This is how they get you. This is how they get you.
I don't know for sure if this is the thing. But anyways, what we are drinking today,
yeah,
before Jemima.
No, my eyes just caught
No, it was a good detour. Slightly educational. Actually, if anybody knows about how that shit works, like, let us know. Because all the supermarkets, at least in the UK, they all do it, right? Like, they have, Sainsbury's, Tesco's, they all have name branded things.
Yeah.
Even Lidl.
Yeah.
Right? So let us know send us an email or in one of the comment section of the social media pieces what you want us to, what that is about. The wine's name is Chenin Blanc. Product of South Africa, 2023, organic wine, 12% volume. It has a fair trade sticker, so I guess that's good. We'll sample it and we'll let you guys know at the end of the show what we're feeling.
Hopefully, if we don't forget
this time, because I think one thing of our podcast is we forget things a lot. Okay, if we are not
speak for yourself. I'm just saying.
Don't even try.
Don't say we now. You don't want to speak French now.
Don't even try.
We.
Don't you dare try it. Anyways, okay. Real quick before we get on to the meat of the show. Kenny updates.
The meat.
Kenny updates.
I don't really get why you say that.
Why I say what?
I was like the meat of the show. Like not just you. Like I don't. That expression is just. Why not fish?
Because I don't know, fish is not like as bulky as meat.
Okay,
like,
chicken.
It's not. Chicken
or the turkey.
Either. Like chicken is like the whole chicken is like this big, and like cow is like fucking. Don't see something is meaty. Like you're not thinking chicken.
Well, okay, fair. Right. Okay, so you were saying on the alpha segment, right? So what do we have? Right? So
no. I was saying updates.
Update on what?
Your update on the year so far.
Oh shit. Okay.
So far.
I was jumping.
Don't phobia, yeah. Phobia flamingo. Phobia flamingo.
Update on the year.
Yeah.
I mean,
so just basically like the general, just let me know and the people know like the general, vibe, like on the last episode with Kiki, we checked in on like, okay, how's your year been so far? And you and her were like, our year just this starts.
It just the starts.
So yeah. It's just starting for the second time.
It's just starting for the second time. But the funny thing is that like, okay, personally, my year started, in that March, right? Okay. But like work-wise,
in that March.
Actually, no. It wasn't in March. It was in March we were talking about.
No, it was in February.
It was no way.
This is how much of your year
No, wait. Are we not in April?
Yes, we're in April.
And then we did that episode in March.
No, we didn't do it in March. You were
Oh, I was away. You see,
in
everything
March.
is such a blur. Like I can't even say how much.
I don't know why I pour this much wine.
The important thing is that like we give God the glory.
Hallelujah.
But I would say like the year has been,
give Jesus a big hand.
The year has been good so far. I think a lot of things have happened. Like quite a number of things have happened in like this short period.
Because this is only the 4th month of the year.
Yeah, and I even forgot. Like I completely forgot March as a month.
As a time frame.
Like, bro.
I was like, that did not exist.
I don't been through some things. But I mean, the way like everybody's like, oh, Q2, because like basically April now is start of a new quarter and all. So I'm just like, I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward to like, what Q2 is gonna bring and what the year is going to bring. But to the question of how the year has been, I would say that I don't want to say, God, I'm trying to use a word, but I cannot use a word. But I'll just say that like it's been a year of learning so far and looking forward to what is to come. I feel like I just talked a whole lot about that. Like that's how you know that this year has been one kind. But I'm putting my hope and faith onto the Lord.
You have to process that. You have to think about that for like a second.
Actually.
Okay. But that was
much has happened. Like
so lots and so basically lots have happened. You've learned a lot. You've, I assume grown a decent bit and you're looking forward to the future as well. Yeah.
To what Q2 bring. How about yours?
Fabulous. Mine has been the way I felt about this year so far is like I feel like I'll describe it with a phrase. steady progress. That's how I describe it.
Steady.
Yeah. Like I feel like this year I've just had like the way everything is just going. Now that said, I am extremely dissatisfied and unhappy with the fact that you people moshi business. They like I didn't like it at all. Anyways, I'm joking.
Are you?
Am I really?
Are you really?
Am I really? But yeah, I feel like just in terms of the things I'm learning, in terms of like how I'm setting up my business and like the plans that I'm making towards that and like the work I'm putting out, the things I'm creating for myself, the process of creating those things, I just feel like it's been steady improvement so far. And of course, you know, nothing is perfect. It's also been, you know, a little bit of a wild start to the year with like emotional and mental, like yin and yang situations, right? But in general, 2025, this year, like, you know, I'm thinking about it a lot. Like at the end of 2024, I just, at least to the people around me and from what I was seeing online and just in my own bubble, it felt like 2024, like a lot of people saw Shige, right? And we are all just like, 2025, come on. Like just come, let me just, don't worry. This 2025, we're gonna redress, we're gonna realign, we're gonna more vim look they were like it just is it feels like even though this is only the beginning of the 4th month of the year. Yeah, to your point, like it feels like so much has happened. It feels like 2025 is just like test.
It feels like we said Merry Christmas like ages ago.
God damn. It
And
feels
Happy
like it's been
New
like
Year.
September by now.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at another.
A lot has happened.
Okay. Fabulous. As always, thank you for sharing with the people and with me as well.
No, you just shared. So I should be saying thank you for sharing. Oh, you're saying thank you for my own sharing. Okay, cool. Sorry.
Got the one swallowing. This is really people. This is what I do.
No. I'm just saying. I was following a chronological.
Oh, there's my wine.
Oh, that's true.
What's this stutter? What's this tray? Okay. What we're talking about today? Let's get into the business of the day. So
we'll be talking about a tweet from Ozzy about like children and respect. Just touch on Lagos traffic just a little bit because if we go into Lagos traffic matter, we will not live here. And then Senator Natasha Akpoti versus the Nigerian political elite that we will not mention, but that's on the Alpha segment. And then onto the curiosity section, which is like, you know, the main convo. The main convo. We're going to talk about like what is our responsibility in, you know, shaping the kind of internet that we want, right? And then, you know, in our, you know, recommendation segment.
You know what? I don't know.
In our recommendation segment, we'll share, you know, some recommendations and tips, and then, you know, a juicy am I the asshole, you know, gist on the Village Square segment. And then that's about it. Wonderful. That's about it.
Wonderful. All right, let's just get right into it. So what was this Kilongwe? What was this respects and children?
So
gist?
I'm just gonna read out the tweet, right?
Okay.
So Ozzy Etomi put out a tweet, right? And she says, people don't teach their kids to greet anymore. And I think it's appalling. I went to view some schools last time I was in England, and you walk past any student that is sitting down or you enter a class and they jump to their feet immediately. Manners aren't old school. Oh my God. Manners aren't old school, right? And I thought it was, I'm going to ask you like your thought about it, but I thought it was like a, you know, a no-brainer kind of thing. Like I thought what she said was like, oh yeah, you know, people are not greeting anymore, because like greeting, the way I see greeting is, apart from it being like, oh, maybe it's a sign of respect that people, it's just manners. And it's just like, you know, normal human decency, especially like if somebody greets you first and like in responding and everything. So I thought like it was going to be, you know, a tweet that would just pass. But imagine my shock when I saw the comments and what people like, everybody were just dragging, and like, this is very interesting because when we go to our main conversation, we would also like, it kind of touches on how the internet, you know, amplify things and what people say on the internet and all of that. And people were talking about how, oh, do you want, is it the greeting that is going to kill you? But like, that's not the point. It's that there are certain things that has been incorporated, that have been mapped out as like manners, like good manners, or just like as basic human decency, or things that you should do. Nobody's expecting, oh, you have to come and greet me, or like on any of that, you know, respect or not disrespect. So I find it a bit weird that like there were a lot of negative reactions to the tweet. But what do you think?
I'm with you. Like, you know, obviously, like nobody owes anybody anything. But at the end of the day, like respect is just good. Respect is just a good thing. It's good to have respect for people. And from the standpoint of like kids and elders, I
don't even think it's even respect. I think it's just like proper
like
manners.
Because
you can decide to greet somebody and you disrespect them regardless, right? I think it's not even about
respect. Poor manners.
Yeah.
And well, can you be respectful and have poor
manners?
I guess. I don't
probably.
I don't have the bandwidth to think about that right think about that right now. But I do agree with you that like manners, there's nothing wrong with manners. Like if more people had manners, the world would be a better place.
Absolutely.
Right? So yeah, that's my feeling on it. And in terms of vitriol, right? I think you and I were talking about this earlier, about how like, so in this specific case, right, like, a lot of people that are reacting to what Ozzy has said are not necessarily reacting to what she has said, but they are reacting to
who said it,
right? So obviously Ozzy is like vocally feminist, and you know,
they absolutely hate her guts online. So
yeah, like anybody that's in Nigeria, if you don't know Ozzy Atomi, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's not necessarily like, and I guess the internet gives people that sort of allowance, because if she said that in person, like face to face, like if you said that to someone like that, oh, people, you know, it seems like people are not teaching their kids manners anymore. Their first reaction might not be, is it the greeting that is going to kill you? Or do you get like the internet creates that thing of like, because it's not immediate and like you're not there, like right then and then, right? Like you can tweet whatever, you can reply whatever it is that you want to what Ozzy has said. Yeah. But they're like, there's no immediate sort of pressing or need to like justify your own reasoning, right? So hey, listen, the internet going internet, man. Like I've seen the most.
And then people are like, so I think I saw a couple people with holding the sentiment that, oh, if you wanted greeting from the kids, why don't you greet them first? Again, like they're missing the point. I think like it's not about respecting me or greeting, or who's greeting who first. Like I'm walking into a classroom or I'm walking into a place, like the onus is on all. I want to imagine that like if the students greet, I would respond, and it's the same like reciprocal way, right? So but people are already thinking, oh, why are you expecting the greeting? Why are you expecting respect? And that's why like they would go into the world and they have poor manners. Like they will not be able to stand their ground. And you know,
and if you think about it, that's why like the service in Nigeria is like, if there is something, if there is something after the bottom of the barrel, that is what is in Nigeria. And like if so many people can feel this strongly about a statement relating to like manners and being respectful, like, well, that just tells you what the situation is, what everybody, you know, in the country thinks, what the prevailing ideology is, right? So, and it's also very weird because Nigerians are one of the most respect your elders people. Like we are always respect authority, respect this. Oh, like we are always, for our non-Nigerian viewers and listeners, do you know the basic way, like the basic form of greeting in Yoruba land, which is my tribe, where I'm from? It's called the Dobale. And the Dobale is you prostrate, like you lie flat on the ground So technically, if you grew up in a Nigerian household, right, in a Yoruba household, when you wake up in the morning, you go and dobale, so you prostrate, you lie flat on the ground to greet your father, and then you go do the same thing, you greet your mother, and if there are any other adults, maybe you have aunties, your grandma, whatever else, you go do that as well. Typically, ideally, in them olden times, obviously, nobody got down to the line around. We are more modern and urbanized, but like that is the tradition, right? That is the culture, right? But then in a country where this same culture and tradition exists, people are like, well, you shouldn't criticize children for not having manners or not being respectful.
Yeah. Like come on.
And also, maybe a lot of people that are angry about that are angry because they know that they've not been teaching their kids. They know that you're raising bad kids. That's why.
Like, what are you teaching your kid if you're not teaching them like proper basic manners? Like, say, please, thank you, good morning, good afternoon. Oh, you see somebody that you know. Nobody is saying, oh, be familiar with strangers, because that was like another ridiculous school of thought that I did not personally get. Like, no shade to anyone who owes that school of thought, but I didn't get it. That like, you can't, oh shit, I think I lost my train of thought just now.
Welcome to my side of the aisle.
Oh my God.
This John goes through this maybe like once every couple months. I go through this a couple times every day. Okay.
Oh my God, what was I saying? I can't remember.
Thoughts about fun.
Now you can't remember. Shit.
No, you're saying that
I was getting somewhere
about something. Anyways.
Okay.
Fine.
Let's move on.
If you remember, we'll come back to it.
I'll remember.
Lagos traffic.
Next thing, Lagos traffic.
Yeah. So we are recording this in early May. It's like first, second week of May. So sorry, I said May. Jesus Christ. April. We are actually in April. And the reason why that is important is because in the past week.
Oh my God, I remember now.
Oh, there we go.
The school of thought that.
Go back to
So the school of thought that, if you're teaching the kids to be greeting or to be having these manners or what you're saying, like, then it opens them up to getting close or cordial
familiarity with strangers.
Yeah,
that was what you were saying.
Familiar with strangers, exactly. So, so I find that stupid because, like, in me teaching my kid or teaching a younger one or saying have proper manners does not mean like, oh yes, open yourself up and be friendly to strangers. Yes, collect something from strangers, or if a stranger calls you, then that means you need to answer. No, that's not like the fact that even became a point of discourse was very like funny and ridiculous to me. But anyways, moving on from that.
Our conclusion on that is we agree with Ozzy.
Yeah.
And you should definitely teach your kids manners and respect. And if you don't know what manners and respect to teach them, go get yourself some. Okay?
Yeah.
Do the needful. Thank you very much and God bless. On to the next.
The next thing, Lagos traffic.
Yeah, so I was saying we're recording in April. That's important because in the past week or so, the Independence Bridge in Ikoyi has been closed. The Lagos State government said they're going to close it for 8 weeks. And there was the mother of all traffic jams. When was that? Last week. People were in traffic for as long as like 8, 9, 10. Some people were in traffic for up to 12 hours.
Can you imagine that?
It was absolutely fucking nuts. Now, quick context, or quick backstory rather, this is nothing new in the sense that Lagos is notorious for traffic, right? Like, were you born in Lagos?
I was born in Lagos, yes.
You were born in Lagos? Okay, so we were both born and raised in Lagos. So we can tell you on good authority, okay, that Lagos might be the traffic capital of Africa at the very least, right? There's always traffic.
Yeah.
If you want to know why, you need to do a lot of reading. It's multifaceted, okay? Just like every problem that Nigeria has.
It's like seasonal movie.
My G. So that's the backstory. But so in a city where traffic is pretty much the norm, like if you go out in Lagos and there's no traffic between your destination A and destination B, you're kind of amazed. You're like, oh my God, like they come
like, what's going on?
You always expect to see traffic somewhere. So in given that context, if a situation now arises where the entire city is bitching, is complaining about this particular traffic in this particular like 2 days. So you know that like it's not
it's gone
regular,
beyond
like terrible traffic. This was like terrible, squared, right? Now, first of all, sorry to everybody that went through that. You don't deserve it. You deserve better from your government, and you don't deserve
I
to go through that.
apologize.
Why are you apologizing? You see that,
For them going through
you that close the
bridge. I apologize for your situation.
No, but I empathize with them, and I, Sharp podcast.
We've been there.
I love. Okay, but what stood out to me was the next day, right? I saw this clip from one of the news channel, and they were speaking to the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and they were like, this traffic, it's fucked up. People are complaining this. This guy said people should think outside the box. The government said, even though we closed this bridge, sorry, not the government, the governor, even though we closed this bridge, we did not make alternate plans. We did not think about urban planning and traffic management and how it's going to affect what, and the situation in Lagos when it rains and all these jazz, right? Even though we did that, still think out of the box.
Think out of the box.
Get yourself out of that quagmire. Why? And that is just a snapshot of Nigeria. So when they say, if person explain Nigeria to you,
you can't.
You know, and you understand them, they never explain them well. That is what they mean, okay? Because that is a metaphor. That's just like an example of how everything in Nigeria is.
Yeah.
Lights. The government is not providing adequate 24/7 lights, and figure that shit out. Get a generator or something, right? Water, same thing. Like we can go on and on, right? So to me, I just found it interesting that like, I mean, this is not the first time he said, crazy shit.
I actually have his tweet here. Obviously, the tweet is
it's stupid.
No, I not say that.
Look
how I go. I beg go. Don't be me talker. Akindare talker. He say, this morning, I arrived at the Independence Bridge, Bonny Camp, to personally assess the ongoing repair work being carried out by the Federal Ministry of Works. Now, this is what got me. He said, I sincerely apologize to all Lagosians for the severe traffic congestion experienced yesterday. I understand the frustration, delays, and the disruption this has caused in your life.
Do you?
As someone who moves through this city, I feel your pain.
Do you? He said he moves through the city. You move through the city in fucking convoys, okay?
I was just like,
be for real.
He says this repair has been in works for over 3 years, carefully planned to avert a potential disaster. The structural integrity of the bridge has deteriorated, and delaying this would put everyone's life at risk for that. I was just like, so
he's like those people that responded to Ozzy's tweets, completely missing the point.
Like
the point was you should have prepared for this.
He said he employs he said employ businesses and organizations across Lagos to employ flexible arrangements, including remote work and hybrid models. A temporary shift in work culture can go a long way in reducing the traffic pressure and supporting our collective well-being. Now you're putting it on the businesses.
I don't even know what to say to that, bro. Like, do you know how much money businesses and people, do you know how much productivity was lost in all those hours of traffic and what?
I had colleagues like that, had to go to the office, and they literally had to just come back to the office from the traffic, like in the morning, because like they spent the whole night there. So it's kind of like, what's the point of going home and then coming back? So he just came back to the office.
And the governor is imploring you to use temporary
like I don't pay my taxes.
Culture shift. Like you don't pay your fucking taxes. Like, do you think the LIRS will allow? Anyways, yeah. So that was something that happened recently, and it's just an example of everything that is crazy
that goes on
with Nigeria. And yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Just gonna say it. Like, I've been off this gospel for a minute.
Get out.
I'm gonna get back on it. Like, if you can afford to, leave.
Get out.
Wrong. Okay. That place there's nothing there. Okay. So moving on. Senator Nashasha.
Do you want to take that one?
Do I want to take it? Okay. So, backstory. Senator Natasha accused
the man who will not be named, Senator Natasha of Kogi State.
Actually, what is her full name?
Senator Natasha
Akoti. I read somewhere where I think it was a Coco article or something where they said like you should actually call her by her full name.
Yeah.
Natasha Akpoti, full name. Show me what you got. Akpoti Uduagan is her full name. Okay, so backstory. Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduagan is a Nigerian senator. I don't know if I need to explain like how Nigeria's government's thing works.
No, she's just a Kogi State governor.
She's a senator.
I say governor.
She's a senator from Kogi State,
State,
which is a state in central Nigeria. And she accused the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, of sexual harassment and abuse of power and other things. Right? This is not the first time they've had clashes. Right? They've had clashes in the past. And anyways, long story short, there is a investigation, quote unquote, investigation, probe or panel. There was a committee set up to investigate this thing, right? Also in the Senate. And what their summation, what they arrived at was that she should be suspended.
Yeah.
From the Senate for 6 months or something?
Yeah.
To the best of my knowledge, I don't think they didn't ask the Senate President any questions, or they didn't if that was an investigation, I'm a billionaire. Right? so let's just put it that way, right? Anyway, so that happened, and then since then, it's just been like barrage after barrage. The Senate President's wife has been attacking her. They've mobilized people to protest against her. The last one, which Jemima actually told me about, was she wanted to hold a rally. Was it? A rally, right? For her supporters, etc. And by the way, she's still fighting this whole suspension thing in court and through the means that she has. And she wanted to hold a rally, and for some reason, the Kogi State governor decided that at that time he was going to announce a ban on rallies and gatherings and this, and then he set checkpoint, and then checkpoints were set up at basically every connective road to her hometown where this rally was supposed to happen. And convoys were also banned, by the way, which if you're Nigerian, you know that politicians, in fact, even celebrities, that's how they get around, right? They have convoys. So they did this thing, right? So
they're putting her life in danger now.
But you see, I love when the system or patriarchy is trying to hold a woman down, and the way they throw an FU to it is with a solid flex. I fucking love that shit. I wake up every morning for that. I love
joy in my heart, joy in my soul.
God, you have no idea. Senator Natasha, being the badass boss that she is, right? She's like, okay, you don't want a gathering. You don't want me to basically move on the road, because why else would you ban convoys, right? She takes a helicopter. She takes a helicopter and flies the helicopter directly into her massive property where thousands of supporters were waiting for her. And that is a boss bitch move.
I love it so much.
It's
I love it so much. Apparently, she said it was even her husband's idea, and it was see, behind every successful woman.
That is a real man. If it was another Nigerian man, he would have said, he would have even said, don't even accuse.
He probably would have even
the Senate President.
Yeah, she won't even be getting to all this. She has even left Nigerian media for them. She has not entered. Did you see it in New York Times?
She did BBC or something. No,
it's in the New York Times. If you search Senator Akpabio's name right now, the things that will come out, I love it so much. She's just you know what, I'm going to take this to the ends of the earth. And you can tell that she has people who are backing her, obviously Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, right? She's very vocal about it and everything. And you can tell that they've been massive support in trying to get her the like get her voice to be heard, like in this situation. And every time she has even spoken about this, she's talked about it from the angle of, it's not even about the act that was committed to her alone. It's just the abuse of power. It's like fighting for the normal, ordinary woman. Because if she, as a senator, is going through something like this, how much more like a, an average Nigerian woman. So I love that. And that's why I love that, like, is even international media that is picking it up. Because, Nigerian media or Nigerians, they can like to bury things. But let me see him try to bury this. Because I think that personally is done. Like, his Senate presidency, like in terms of like his whole being a politician and being a respected politician, is done. That's
in the mud.
It's done. So it's just now about like, how do you go deeper into the grave that you have dug, right? And I'm here for it. So Senator Natasha, the woman that you are.
Yes, we love you, Senator Natasha. We are supporting you, and we hope that we pray and wish and hope that you get justice. You deserve it. Yeah. And all the I just want to say on this Senator Natasha Akindare point, that just what you were saying earlier about, if a senator could get allegedly sexually harassed and literally cannot get any recompense, any recourse, cannot get even something that could even pass to a child as an investigation, if a senator,
like how much more
one of the political leaders, like main political leaders in the entire country, what hope does the average girl on the street have, right? So when we say that like Nigeria is not a kind place to women, like when we say that like Nigeria is a very hostile place to women, this is another example. Okay, let's not even get into the amount of femicides and all these patriarchy and misogyny. We know we'll come up for it, but that just shows you how deep it runs, and the choices that exist for most women and girls in Nigeria. So,
it's so sad.
Do better, okay? More of you niggas should be like Senator Akindare husband, okay?
Yeah.
And to encourage your women to flex on their enemies.
Help them flex.
Help them flex on their enemies.
Motivate them to flex on their enemies.
You get me. Okay. So that's been how far. That's all the things that have been happening recently.
Yeah. So many things are happening.
Hey, listen, that's
like
we can't talk about it.
I just we just spend the last 30 minutes or 45 minutes just talking about shit that is happening.
Literally. And that's just
there's
some
no
of the
shortage of shit happening.
There's no shortage. A lot of times, like when we create like the how far session, a lot of times we'll have like maybe 5-10 topics. And we have to whittle it down to like 2 or 3.
Because
it choke. Okay.
All right.
On to the main section of the show, our curiosity session. What we're curious about today, we are curious about
we all have our part to play.
The part that we all have to play in the internet we want. Do you want to go? Because this came from... So Jemima and I watched Adolescence recently. You all know, you've heard about Adolescence. Okay,
this is not spoiling at this point.
Yeah. I don't even need to get into it, but actually maybe we'll get into it. Whatever. Shasha, we watch Adolescence, right? And we are not talking about Adolescence. But it inspired this sort of like undercurrent of conversation that we've been having as well for the past couple months, which is basically, so the point, at least according to the writers and producers of Adolescence, the point of the show, or the sort of one of the central themes of the show, is that like we are all responsible for the fact that like, kids are being radicalized, or like incel culture, or like all this shit, right? We are all like the parents, schools, the government, everything, we are all responsible, right? And so that tied into, when we finished watching Adolescence, like we were having a conversation, we were talking about it, and we're like, that ties into this thing we were talking about, like the internet is such a vast, massive, insane place. And like, it just feels similar to like Adolescence, that like everybody is kind of responsible for what goes on the internet, but everybody also kind of like acts like they're not
responsible
for what goes on the internet, which is
I think that for me, right, I always say jokingly that there are two of man's greatest invention that I think exists, which is the internet and the aeroplane. And I think that like with the internet, we've gotten to this point where like we now need to understand what it is, right? I think in the past, like growing up without internet or like just getting into the internet culture, right? It was like this new shiny thing, like, oh, how do we navigate it? How do we engage with it and everything? But I think we've gotten to the point where we can now say this is what the internet is. And we can then map out how the role that we want to play in engaging with how the internet is now, right? Because it's become such a crucial part of our lives that I think that like without the internet, this recording that we're doing will not be like, we won't be able to like do this recording and like put it out there, right? And get people to listen to us and like, you know, have all of these conversations and, you know, what have you. But I think that like there's a lot of irresponsibility with how we have engaged with the internet. And that's like the main crux and core for me, because I'm like, I know how I want to engage with the internet. I know what I want to see on the internet, right? Yep. I know the things that I want to feed my mind with on the internet, right? And I can do my best to create the internet to those kind of things that I want to see and like, you know, engage in conversations that, you know, would help me. But like other people, like I don't think like everyone understands their own responsibility in that sort of like curation. Because if we all do individually, we'll be able to kind of like curate the kind of internet that we can all engage with. Do you get what I'm trying to talk about? Yeah. But because maybe I have my own idea of how I want to engage, you have your own idea of things you want to see on the internet. Everybody, so there's just this influx of different kind of things and like garbage and, you know, all of these things coming in. And then younger people who are coming in to engage with the internet on that way are seeing all of these different ridiculous things happening and they're confused. So where do I go? Who do I engage with? And then that's where like they now get into the trap of like getting into the wrong hands of the internet, like this incel culture and all of that, because we have not played our own part to curate the internet in a way that it feels safe or it feels like important for, you know, the younger generation of people who are going to interact with that. That's like my own first just main point of contact.
A step before that, it's like there's this new thing, right? The internet. I think first off, I feel like millennials are uniquely placed to see both sides of the internet coin,
because we were before and then you know,
exactly.
Sure.
So like the generations post millennials, they were fully internet generations. Like, the internet was already around. Like they've known the internet from birth, right? Sure. Now the generation before millennials did not know the internet. Some of them don't even live to see the internet, right? And then there's millennials who kind of straddle that like middle point, like, you know, when we're kids there was no internet, and then when we're teenagers and and now that we're adults we are
now fully into the internet age.
So I feel like we generally have decided like, there's this new thing, and I think it's the same thing with AI right now. It's like, there's this new thing, right? It's going to change humanity. Oh my God, it's going to change everything. It's going to solve all the problems.
And it's not new,
right?
Like AI has been since.
Exactly. But like we don't, I feel like it's a human problem. Like we don't sort of pump the brakes enough to like be like, okay, all of this looks shiny and it looks great and everything, but like what could be the potential downsides? Somebody made a quote. I don't know if I forget. It was a celebrity. I don't know if it was Kevin Hart. I forget which celebrity made the quote, but it was something along the lines of, no, it was Jamie Foxx in his latest comedy special. And he was talking about how like when you dream and you see the future, like all you see is like, you know, you're rich, you know, you're doing the
shiny
dream
things,
job,
positive.
you know, you're not seeing that like maybe you might be sick. Or you might lose a kid, or you know, a fire might happen, like the LA fires, and like burn your house down. Or you don't see any negativity. All you see are just like, you imagine all the good things. But when you do get there, I mean, it's obviously not all roses, is it? Right? Because when you do get there will be challenges, there'll be problems, etc., etc. So the same thing with the internet and also like with this AI thing, right? I feel like when the internet was being built out and developed and all these things, and we were having, when the social media companies were coming up, Amazon and all these things, right? It was like, oh my God, you're going to be able to order a cab like in seconds, and like that cab will take you from point A to point. Oh, that's it's like it's magic, right? But on the flip side, Uber's problems are well documented. There's all the driver strikes and like pay, and are they employees? Are they not employees? Are they contractors? All these things, right? When Uber was being developed or was being created, the founders, the team, etc., they were like, okay, this is the way that this is going to change humanity. This is the magic of our product, right? Yeah. It's fantastic. It's amazing, right? But these are also the ways it could go wrong, and then solve for that, or at least try to mitigate that, right?
It, yeah.
Same shit, right? So we just like on the internet, like everybody's just kind of doing whatever the fuck it is that they want, right? Everybody, you're a streamer, you're this, you're an influencer, you make tweets, you post TikToks, whatever it is, right? But we are all forgetting that like every single action contributes ultimately
to the larger,
to what the internet is.
And what people would end up consuming at the end of the day.
Exactly. So you might think that like your tweets or that your comments or that, terrible thing that you said to somebody does not really mean anything. But if there's like 1,000 of you that are doing the same thing, then, that's a different context. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel that like humanity has this tendency. It's like when they were developing like nuclear technology, right? Like, there was a lot of talk about how Oppenheimer like struggled with like the fact that like his creation like killed millions of people and all this many, right? But at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is that like honestly at this point I think maybe it's just a human thing. Like we are just so caught up in like this is the good that it can do that we don't see like crypto, for example, right? The blockchain. Like I remember the blockchain came out like became really popular maybe 2014, 2015. I remember I was just starting my career then. I was working at Paul as a journalist. Like, what's this blockchain thing? Like, I swear it's very this, very that, right? Now, Bitcoin is worth however fucking $1,000, right? But what was the messaging then? It was like, oh, this shit is gonna change the world. Like everything's gonna be decentralized. Like, oh my God, what? Smart contracts, everything, right?
Everything has been decentralized.
Then people are selling drugs and they are doing slavery and child trafficking and child porno on the same
blockchain, and you can't track it. You can't.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I just feel like collectively as humanity, or it just not even say humanity, just individually, not
yeah.
Like when you're thinking of you're innovating, you're like, creativity, pop. Creativity choke. Also think like in what ways could this be detrimental to humanity? Like what could go wrong? Do you get? Because in and of itself, the internet is not a problem, but at scale, like there are at least half of humanity is on the internet in some way, shape,
on tech, doing tech, like in tech, engaging with tech. By the way, I think we should mention, if I want to mention is that this is not, because maybe somebody's listening to this and they're like, oh, this one's I don't talking about all righteous and saying this is what you should do on the internet and not do. But like, this is not this is what you should do. Oh, this is how you should engage it. This is just let's have the conversation. I think we need to start having the conversation about like, how do we really want this world to be for us as we're living in it and growing into it? Like, how do we want it to be for us? And I think that's like where the conversation is coming from. Like having those kind of conversation. It's not like trying to police or trying to say, because even me, I'm not like, it's not like I'm perfect. I'm sure I say a lot of things on the internet that are like,
I do,
but I'm making a conscious effort. Like again, it's about the responsibility. Like I'm making it like my own responsibility to actually like not spread misinformation. Like if I see something and I can't verify it,
the source,
like why am I retweeting it or recording it or resharing it, even if it's just to say, is this thing true? Because like I am amplifying it by doing that. It's my own responsibility to either report it or not even engage it, go and fact check it. And when I fact check, maybe I can now engage and further amplify, depending on like if it's wrong or if it's not. Because like the internet is a web of nastiness. Like so many things can happen on there. Like a lot of, I don't think that like when they created YouTube, and you know the videos and like saying, oh, this is how I don't think they created it and thought in their minds that there would actually like be a section on YouTube for people who are into pedophilia. Like they just go there to see videos of your kids that you just post and they are making raunchy comments on there. I don't think they built it like that, but
definitely not. Yeah,
obviously like the danger and the dangerousness of man.
The duality of man.
The duality of man, right? They were able to like get to that dark place. And obviously like YouTube had to, you know, improve their privacy and like all of these other things. But then I'm just like, if we all just do what we need to do as like normal basic humans, right? It's not even about if I want to be good or bad. It's just, let me just be a basic human being. I think that like we'll be able to get to that point where we can see the internet that we will all be proud of. But if not, we will not get to that point. Because if you have people who, even when they see things that are true, take for instance, adolescence that we're talking about. In the series, from the first episode, there was not a question of if this boy did it or he did not do it. This boy did it. Like, there was a video. This boy did it. So why am I going online and I'm seeing people say, oh, it wasn't until episode 3 or episode 4 I realized that, oh, he actually did it. And then some people were like, even the video, are we really sure it was him? Because they were saying, you know, the clothes that the guy wear. I'm just like, bro. And this is what we see online. Like somebody, Senator Natasha, she's come to say, this happened to me. A lot of people that don't know Senator Akpabio from nowhere have come to say, it's a lie. This cannot happen to you.
He's a man of impeccable timber and caliber.
Like, it blows my mind.
To your point about like if we all behaved, you know, responsibly on the internet, right? So while I was doing some research into this before, obviously, because you know, we have to come correct. You know, we cannot just come be talking out of our asses on the pod. You know, then I found a concept that I found very interesting called, and this is a very internet specific thing. It's called perceived anonymity. Right? And it's basically that thing that I was saying to like the thing about Ozzy earlier, where like, because like pre-internet, the way we were used to having conversations was in person. It was much more tactile. You know, you wrote letters, you know, like you would physically, you know, see people and have conversations, etc., right? Now, what the internet has done is that like it has removed that, right? So you don't need to be
like face to face with somebody.
Exactly. So you don't need to deal with the consequences of the things you say or do immediately, right? So for example, if you were the village idiots before, right? Like instantly, everybody knows you're the village idiot, and we just like nobody gives you face. Like nobody's like clapping. Like nobody's like, oh, the village idiot has done something again, or everybody come and see. You're just like, well, the village idiot did something, and that person will see. I just move on, right? But now, right? What is happening is the village idiot now has now found the internet, and then has now found other idiots like it. So they've now, so they've now gathered themselves. So they're now doing, you know, idiot things together. So they're all like, oh, somebody's like, if back before the internet, someone was like, oh, the earth is flat in your class, right? They're like, or maybe in your street, in your neighborhood, right? There's somebody that believes that the earth is flat, right? But everybody in the neighborhood will not pay that. They'll just be like, oh, this, you know, that guy that always says the earth is flat, you know, that's just it. Like, everybody, you know, moves on, right? But now, this person now goes on the internet and now they now found 100K or whatever on Reddit or on Instagram or on Facebook groups or on Twitch or wherever the fuck else, right? They've now found other people that are like, I know, actually the earth is flat too. That's true, I believe it, right? So now they all gather and they believe they are like convincing themselves further that like the earth is flat, and then they keep looking for adjacent things and people that believe similar things, right? And congregate, and it gets bigger.
Yeah.
Right? So at the end of the day, the reason why that can exist is because now they don't have to deal with the people in their neighborhood, or the idiot doesn't have to deal with the village anymore.
They're not...
You get what I'm saying? Because now there are other idiots that tell the village idiot that like, hey, listen, the earth is flat. It's not just
one idiot no more.
You get. And so to the point of like, so first off, there's that perceived anonymity thing, right? So that means that like anybody can come on the internet and say anything, right? Now, this is where the responsibility part comes in. Because if the village idiot travels to other villages and gathers other village idiots and comes and tells us that the earth is flat, we don't have to believe the fucking village idiots. Like, we could just say, okay, good for you, go and form your own village. In it, right? That is us being responsible. But imagine we now take, when those village idiots gather themselves and now come and say the earth is flat, and then we now go to other villages and be like, other villages, come and see you. They said the earth is flat. Before you know what's happening, we are bringing more village idiots.
Yeah.
To just like we are amplifying the things that we don't need to amplify, right? So in terms of being responsible, right? And to your point about like not sharing things if you cannot verify the source, that's an example, right? Because you know that like this person could be perceived anonymity. This person could be a village idiot. We don't know, right? The thing that
you don't know what they're saying.
Could be anything, like literally anything you can imagine can be said or done on the internet, right? So the responsible part, I think, is, and I used to be one of those people that used to be like my one retweet is not going to do anything. Like me quoting this stupid thing. And a lot of the times, the reason why we quote stuff is because we're trying to virtue signal. We're trying to be like, I'm not like these village idiots.
But like,
what
you know that you are not. So
and that should be enough, right? So, it's things like that, like not amplifying things that we don't need to amplify, but also how we carry ourselves. Like, don't just go into people's comments and just kind of be saying, stupid shit. Like, people it's very hard. Like, I've come across it maybe like twice this year where two people are going at it on Twitter, they're having an argument, and people are like, oh my God, I cannot believe two human beings on Twitter can actually have a good faith argument. Like, they're arguing back and forth, but like, nobody's calling anybody names. Nobody's like saying your mother is this, or, like, it's everybody just like, okay, this is what I think. Like, okay, I hear that, but like, okay, look at this part. Like, it's just a conversation. It's just, So yeah, I think like perceived anonymity plays a huge role in our lack of consideration of our own responsibility on the internet. Because if you feel that like there are no immediate repercussions for the things you do, right?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily feel like, oh, I need to be responsible with how I behave in this forum, right? Because you go and like, you know how much research you have to do before you can find me, and so on and so forth. Like, and even if you do find me, maybe I'm in another country, maybe I'm in fucking Yakutia, the coldest place on earth. That was an inside joke. But that sort of thing where like, because you like that immediate, and you know what, when they say go and touch grass that's legit. Like,
go and touch grass, go outside. I think something I wanted to say to I don't know if this is the perceived anonymity thing or like, I mean, I think it relates, but I remember this, was it the Instagram's worst con artist, right? And how like
Gibson.
Yeah, and how like it was just one thing that she said, or like just so a lack of irresponsibility on the internet, kind of like, first of all, not just like using it to scam people, right? I'll talk about the story or what like the synopsis of the story, but like not just about scamming people, but like also because she didn't, oh God, I'm trying to piece this together in my head, but it's not working. But what I'm trying to say is that
like the scam aside, there's the irresponsibility on her part of obviously lying about who she is and all these things, right? Yeah. And then there's also the irresponsibility of the sort of audience and obviously ultimately like a business etc. to like, should I say confirm? Not verifying.
Exactly. Like not doing their own due diligence. Yeah. Because like what you're saying about like village idiot, anybody can come on the internet and say something. And this Belle Gibson story is very interesting because we can put her in that the reason why she was able to succeed that much on the internet is because like she grew up without the internet in a way. So she was able to, I don't want to say rebrand, but rebirth herself through the internet where nobody really knows, like nobody can go and verify her in a little cottage and wherever it is that nobody cares enough. So she just came and said, I have this thing, and then it just started going up.
Which is nuts. How can you say you have
just
brain
one
cancer?
That was the only thing she put out, and her life changed for the worse or for the good. But like from that moment, and you can see how like even the innocence of how people's innocence can be played on the internet. Do you get? Because like
people's innocence can be played on in real life. How much more the internet? Like,
where you can't even verify. You say, I'm sick, and like before you know it, why did people scam? Even me, I'm being like, a victim of scam in one shape or form due to somebody coming to say, I'm sick, I don't have this, I don't have that. But then when you now find just internet, because there is no way you will see me on the road and you come and meet me and say you are sick and I don't know you from anywhere, I'll give you 100K. It's not possible. But because of this internet, there's this sense of familiarity that it has created where it's like, even if you don't know the person, you feel like you owe them a response, you owe them like a duty to help them just because of the internet. And because of that, they can play on your, kindness or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to like mention that part.
Something else that I think is very useful for, like when we're kids and we're growing up, right? Like you're taught, like obviously don't put your hand into like the electric socket and like, you're taught safety things. Right? Some people take it a step further and, teach their kids how to swim and like, some families have like fire drills in their house and all these things, right? People, basically the point I'm trying to make is that like we are taught like how to be safe in either spaces or environments, don't talk to strangers, in school, they'll teach you like, how to be safe, like, in your career and all these things, right? I can't think of any sort of like mass sort of at scale form of education about the internet or like how to be safe on the internet. If you get what I'm saying. Like, there's some NGOs, that partner with like businesses and all these things.
I mean, social media platforms will say they have those kind of things to say like how to use the platform basically. Or like how
just
to
a tutorial.
No, not tutorial, like in terms of not spreading hateful comments or this kind of comments should not be put out, like those kind of things. But like, things, who reads
that's
them?
What I'm saying. Like that's buried. So like,
who reads them? I think they do that for due diligence.
That's to me. That's just tick a box, right? Because if you are like post videos, post reels, reels, like reels, do more reels, like make more videos, like what? We're going to give you this tool to like learn about like how many of your audience is from Pakistan or wherever the fuck, right? Where is that energy for this is how to be safe? This is why you should. This is media literacy, critical thinking, like those sort of things. Also, first of all, it's just stupid to think that like platforms are going to adequately police themselves
because they are for the money.
You get me?
They're looking for ways to
world, okay, everything is all boils down to shareholder value. Okay, at the end of the day, which is inherently not a bad thing, but to the point of people like Simon Sinek and like Scott Galloway, like we can be rich and like everybody else does not have to suffer because we're rich. You know what I'm saying? Like you can chase shareholder value and your shareholders will get very, very good value, very, very decent gains and make a lot of money and still make sure that your platform is safe for kids or for people with disabilities or people with mental health issues or just in general. Do you get what I'm saying? But again, that also ties back to what we were saying earlier about when innovation is in progress or, all these things are being developed and built. We're watching, what's on that? The Social Dilemma. Go check it out on Netflix, The Social Dilemma, right? And all those founders and engineers that worked at Google and Facebook,
Twitter,
they all said some version of when we're building these things. The guy that made the like button, he was like, this was like to spread love, right? But now kids are fucking depressed because of how many likes they have or don't have. You see what I'm saying? So it's like at the creation stage, when these technologies are being developed, right? This is why we are all shouting AI now. We need to start thinking about the ethical considerations that need to be things that need to be thought about.
Very important.
Like, how can this be used? And you know the crazy thing?
Very important.
Humanity is so weird, right? Because we've already had examples of how terribly wrong this could go. First of all, there's movies. Second of all, somebody made fucking porn with Taylor Swift's image. Like, that was world news. Like, we can see people are making deepfake videos to spread misinformation around elections and around...
Exactly. Like, what is real and what isn't real?
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, so we need to be having these conversations. Okay, the internet, like, is great and everything, and, like, you know, people have found the loves of their lives. People have found money to, like, pay for their, like, medical problems. Like, I would argue that the internet has been a net positive for humanity. But just because something is a net positive does not mean that, like, the negative aspects of it cannot be so great that it could potentially undo all of that net positivity that it's done, like, you know, prior. So I think it's very important that we have, you know, conversations around, like, our own responsibility on the internet, like critical thinking.
I think we need to even think about, like, how do we use the internet? Like, that's where we need to all start from.
I think some people, first of all, people think the internet is just like social media.
Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. Like, how do you use the internet? What are you feeding the internet? What are you feeding even this AI? Because, like, we talk about AI, like, what is ChatGPT? What is OpenAI? Is what you feed it.
Yep.
Is what you tell it.
They don't come up with, like, anything out of
like
thin air.
They're not coming up with anything new. It's what you feed. So, like, what are you feeding? Like, how are you using the internet? How are you engaging the internet? How are you using the internet in a way that, like, you're making it safe for whoever, like, is coming behind you, or the kids coming to be able to, like, engage? Because, see, we talk about cyberbullying and we talk about all of these things. When kids come online, like, where do you think they find the strength to say, like, the ginger? It's because they've seen it. So, like, we need to start thinking about, like, how do we use it? What are the things that we say? Like, something that I've been saying a lot these days, like, words have meaning, right? Like, we just throw words around on the internet. We just say something. We just, you know, maybe through no fault of ours, because, again, the internet has created this avenue where anybody can just say anything. Nobody's going to come and meet me or beat me. Maybe they will find you if you do something, whatever, if it matters that much to the other party. But, like, generally, by and large, nobody really cares about you. Nobody really knows you that way. So, like, you tend to say certain things and use certain words. But, like, we need to think about, like, how do we use the internet? Not just social media, not just what we tweet. What we're searching for, because that's what the algorithm is using. That's what they will use to push more content that does not make sense to your front, and then you keep engaging with it, and then before you know it, it keeps spreading. So, like, thinking about how we use the internet, like, more responsibly, I think would also get us to where we, like, to the internet that we want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree. And the thing that's interesting about that is, like, at the end of the day, right? Like, by the way, like, we're not saying this is not, like, we're not like, oh, you know, it's your fault that the internet is fucked up. Like, that's not what we're saying, right? And we're not saying that, like, you know,
don't use the internet or delete the internet. You literally cannot do that.
We are also not saying that, like, each of us being individually more responsible on the internet is suddenly going to solve everything, right? Again, to throw back to that adolescence reference at the start of this section, right? Is that, like, we all have, the government has a part to play, the policymakers, the investors, the engineers, the startup founders, the marketing teams, the policy teams, the users, like, we all, parents, schools, like, we all have a part, we all have a part to play in shaping the internet that we want, right? And to your point about, like, what you were saying just now, right? And what crossed my mind when we were talking about it was, like, I feel like the internet allows externalization to thrive. So pre-internet, right? You had maybe your family, you know, nuclear extended, maybe you had some friends in your neighborhood, that was it. right? Like all whatever those people said or felt about you was pretty much as far as it went, right? So even if you were someone that like you were a people pleaser or you were seeking external validation or you had trauma and you were dealing with it and like this is how it's manifesting, right? It was still like
there was no outlet.
It was still like it was still like a smaller sort of situation, right? But when you take that to the internet, right, now anybody from any part of the world, anywhere can come and say anything about you or what you're doing or what you're about, right? So that then creates a situation that like the internet is mirroring reality, which it does to some respect, right? But when they say like, the internet is not real life.
It's also a bubble,
saying,
yeah.
Like, the internet is not real life, right? So if you have 100,000 likes, like, does that necessarily translate to that like
100,000 friends like you?
Like you? You know what I'm saying? Like if you have 100,000 followers, like the internet like kind of creates this externalization and amplifies it, right? So ultimately, when they say go and touch grass, it's not necessarily about going outside. It's more about like coming into yourself, because when you're touching grass, you are internalizing, you're engaging. Meditating, you're engaging. It's from within. It's from within rather than from without, right? So the same thing. I think I'm not saying that like we should go back to pre-internet and like shut down all the social media and all those things, but I think, again, to my earlier point about like, no, we didn't go to school. There are no curriculums or like guidelines of like, this is how to be on the internet, right? And even if there is, I'm not saying there are guidelines and how to be safe and like there's a lot of articles and all these things, right? But it's not mainstream. You know what I'm saying? So
that's not what is at the forefront when you're using the internet. Exactly. Like that, you're not thinking, yes, okay. I'm thinking, is this tweet going to sound cyberbullying or is it? No, you're not thinking that. You're just you're just putting it out there. Exactly.
So like at the end of the day, I think that externalization, I think ultimately where we need to get to is a little bit. We need to come back a bit more into ourselves and like sort of front post, human to human, like physical interaction a little bit more. Because it feels like, and actually this just occurred to me just now, and this is fucking weird, right? It feels like we are all just like, let's all go digital, like talk through WhatsApp, call, send pictures, social media, watch streams, all these things. It's almost like we are encouraging each other to interact in person or like have that tactile interaction less and less. Like even now, AI, they're like, you can have an AI friend, an AI companion. I'm like, why is this a good idea? Like, one of the oldest things I've ever heard in my life is that like human beings are social animals.
Yeah, you can't replace that.
What? Like it's like we are encouraging each other. We're all happy, and we're like, yes, let's keep going more and more towards not touching grass. You see what I'm saying? Like, maybe we should touch grass a little more. Yeah. Like let's life is about balance, isn't it? Right? Let's do some internet and then let's do some not internet. You know what I'm saying? Like let's balance it together, right? Because
let's do side by side.
Because it's crazy out here, man. It's crazy out here. Like people are getting killed. Like the kids are fucked up.
It's the ripple effect for me, because like one thing that happens and then before you know it, it just spirals, and like before you know it, kids are fighting for their rights not to greet people because they saw their aunties and uncles online saying that it is right.
It is right for to you not have manners.
To not have manners. So they'll be like, yeah, I'm going to school. Who's this? Get out of my way. And then they will now come and start saying the kid is fault. You don't know that it is what you said many years ago. No. It's what you said online that is no, but really, we really need to talk to ourselves and like, at least millennials.
Yeah. I think everybody should have those conversations. I think ultimately like my takeaway from this conversation is we need to talk more, we need to have more conversations about this. We need to be more aware and cognizant of how we use the internet and how our behaviors on the internet could translate, how it could impact. Like that comment, like what is it really doing? You know, like this thing that you want to say about this group of people or that group of people or this country or whatever, like, you know, like before the internet, like if you wanted to come out and say that, like, let's say for example, like, you know, something ludicrous, like let's just, if you want to come out and say, let me go back to my flat earth example. If you want to come out and say the earth is flat, right? Like you go reason, you know, you go,
who was the celebrity that said the earth is flat and then came back and said, oh, sorry, the earth is round?
Kyrie Irving, bro. Like a fucking
this is how they get you.
Superstar, like, and he was like he just fell down a fucking YouTube rabbit hole, and that is how they get you. That, like, you know, so yeah, my takeaway is just let's all be more cognizant of how we use the internet, how our actions on the internet translate. You know, like, yes, maybe you're angry about that tweet, but like, you don't scream and shout and talk about everything you're angry about in real life.
In real life, yeah.
Like there's some things that you be angry about and you just keep it moving. Try to apply the same on the internet. Like, you know, if something is evidently clickbait, then maybe don't be the baits and click. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch, like, protect each other. Like the same way that, like, if you know, if you're out on the street, I'm hoping that people that watch this podcast are out on the street and you see someone, like, you know, harassing someone or molesting a child or something, you're not going to stand for it. Be the same way on the internet. Yeah. Like, you know, like just think about your own internet usage, your own behavior on the internet. Think about your own responsibility, right? Like, you saw something from WhatsApp, does not mean you should share it. Like, have you verified the source? Have you, you know, critical thinking, media literacy, you know, fact check. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the internet is an awesome place. Like, I remember 2016, 2017, like Twitter, man, like it was you know, it was lit, like, you know, like now
and it can
it's
still
just a fucking cesspool, like you guys, you know. So that's my takeaway. Like the internet is great, technology, all these things, all this development, all these things, they're all great, they're fantastic, but let's always think about how they could go wrong, right? Like in the movies, they did not think about how the AI or the robots could take over the world. That's why they took over the world. Okay, so let's be more thoughtful, more cognizant, and fall less into the trap of perceived anonymity is my takeaway. What's yours?
Bro, you said everything now. You said everything, basically. That's all we talked about.
In the notes, I have practical tips for being an irresponsible online citizen, but do your Googles. Okay, do some reading. I can't do everything. We can't do everything. All right? I
think for me, right, I mean, well, like really, you said everything. You should have left some for me. But I think that, like, at the end of the day, to the topic is like we all have our own part to play, right? I don't want to rehash everything you said, but like really, we need to have these conversations more, like with ourselves, in, you know, where we're at. Like, yes, go and touch grass, but I think that, like, even if you touch grass, the grass that you touch, you can bring it online. And then the positivity spreads that way. Do you get what I mean? Like, if you're having conversations, like the way we say, yeah, internet is not real. How about we make it real? In the, like, what we're doing outside, the kind of experiences we're having outside, the kind of conversations we're having with our friends, and, you know, these meaningful conversations. Why can't we translate that and bring that on the internet so that that is what saturates the internet, and then there's less of the negativity and more of the positivity, because there is more balance. You're doing it out and then you're bringing it online or on the internet. Like, just use the internet responsibly is what I'm gonna say. Like, pretty much just use it responsibly. Understand that, like, you have a duty to yourself. You have a duty to people around you. You have a duty to this internet that has been created, this what God's or man's greatest invention that has been created. Like, you have a duty to protect it and make it live or stand the test of time and live as long as everyone thinks it's going to live. But it can only be that way if we engage with it responsibly. So
because it's fucked up, ain't nobody gonna be on there.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be on there. Before you know it, like, nobody's gonna, like, I'm even so scared that, like, the internet can get to a point where, like, nobody knows what is true anymore. Like, nobody knows, as in, like, nobody knows at all.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like people don't believe, like, actual fucking like the authorities anymore.
Who are the authorities?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
who are the authorities?
No, but like, so society, we've set up, the CDC, like, the organizations, the UN, the World Bank, okay, you people go and do all the research, go and do everything, and they come and tell us, right? But like now, people are like, no, they are lying. People are like a scientist, like a doctor will say something,
and they're like, no,
that's not true. That is not true.
No, coronavirus time should have told you now when doctors were saying no.
It is
eating
crazy.
Onions cannot cure coronavirus. It's a lie. No, you can't eat. Like, do you know more than the people that went to school to learn this?
That's something like, it's like the world is moving towards we don't just even we don't give a fuck about what is true or what is objective anymore. It's just like believe whatever the fuck you want. Like I identify with like whatever truth you want to identify with. That's a bit ridiculous. Anyway,
do better. Do better,
folks. Okay? Do better. Let's create the internet that we want. Okay, moving on to recommendations. This is our step up segment where we recommend stuff for y'all, give y'all the tip.
Let me go first.
What's happening? You want to go first?
Yeah.
I've
got today that I have recommendation. I want to go first.
You don't see. God damn.
You full document.
Check.
Okay, so recommendation. Listen for song. Everything Has Beauty is by Valkyrie Beat Flow. She's not really a known artist. She's like one of these,
No, clearly with this name. I'm sorry, no shade.
It's just like that they make good music and they just put their songs on Spotify. So it's on Spotify. Like I love this song because like if you listen to the lyrics, but it basically is saying that like everything has beauty. Like no matter how you look at it, even if you light a match and it's burnt or whatever, like if you look at it truly, like it has beauty. So very, very good song. Watch. Number 1 on the call sheet.
Yeah, damn. You got that one over me. That was going to be my next one.
I knew it.
That was going to be my next one.
But yeah, I think it's a really good documentary about like, the big names, the actors and actresses in black actors and actresses who've like really gotten up there. So kind of like their story, what they had to do, and
have you finished it?
Yes, no, I'm still watching the women's version, but I finished the man's one. So yeah, there's 2 episodes.
The first one is men, second one is women.
Yeah, I think it was like it's very good. There's this line from what's his name? This Get Out guy, Daniel
Kaluuya.
Yeah, where it was like,
taking nothing minor.
Oh my God, I love that line.
That's major, bro.
It's like, they call us minorities. What is a minority? There's 1,000 blacks. There's 1 billion white people.
What's minor about that? Bro?
There's nothing minor.
Taking nothing minor, bro.
I'm major. Bro. I loved it because yes. Okay. And then for read, my recommendation here is Shades of Thoughts. What we don't know is killing us. This was written by. This is a very nice article on friendship. It's written by somebody called AKNLWS.
Which Shakin Amy?
And you can find it on AKNLWS. Is it Substack.com? Right?
Substack.com /AKNLWS.
AKNLWS. Yeah, I think you should read it. Like, very important essay on friendship. Like, if you've not had friends, if you're looking to build friendship, if you're trying to understand, like, what is all of this friendship thing about? It's not going to give you understanding, but it's going to spark. No, it's like, obviously, it's like shades of your thought. Like, so it's going to spark, like, you would get more understanding about, like, certain things that have to do with friendship. Probably spark some more questions in your mind and all of that. So, read that. It's very, very good. It could be a little bit lengthy, but I promise you it's very worth it. Very, very worth it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's my recommendation. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
Don't see, I never did nothing for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You didn't see that.
Much love. What I want you to listen to, what I recommend you listen to this week is this Nigerian, I don't know if it's a grime rapper or I don't know what to categorize that, but his name is Michaels. So Michael, but with a Z. And the song is called Chiwetaluagu. If you know, Nollywood people will know who Chiwetaluagu is. So go check that out. Is
it a tribute?
It's not a tribute. It's just the title of the song.
Okay. But because the man is dead, no?
Yeah, he's passed away. So yeah, go listen to Michael's Chiwetaluagu. And he has other songs, but I forgot. Actually, Chiwetaluagu is not the one I wanted to recommend, but like that was the one that came to my mind because I can't remember any more of the other songs. So there you go. My recommendation for watching this week is Slow Horses. It's on Apple TV. Go check it out. Gary Oldman and the cast is great. Go check it out. Slow Horses. And I have no tech recommendations. My read tech recommendation for this week is I Am Not Afraid to Look Stupid by Nana Aisha Salahuddin. It's on our website, nanaaishasalauddin.com. Go check it out. It's a very I think I sent it to you. It's a very great blog post about just basically doing things that you're not familiar with. And obviously one of the main things that comes with doing new things or doing hard things that like you're afraid to look stupid in. And that particularly resonated with me.
I need to read that.
I said, Moshe Shile shed me. So understand, an entrepreneur, I mean saying, okay, I'm consulting, okay. If you have any productive needs, creative needs, you need home strategy, whatever, I'll at your boy, okay? I did. Anyways, it resonated with me because obviously I'm doing, doing my own business now, and like, it's a very, very scary, tough, it's a different thing for me, right? I'm also creating in a different way. I've taken up photography, etc. Right? So I'm Not Afraid to Look Stupid by Nana Aisha Salahuddin, who is also my friend, by the way. So yeah, those are my recommendations for the week. Okay. I'm tempted to, again, for the umpteenth time, cancel, but I'm not going to do it, okay? It's just of us. We're going to do Village Square today.
Oh, yeah. Let me read it.
Okay.
Should I read it?
Let me read it.
Okay.
My roommate, 23 female, and I, 21 female, have lived together for 6 months, along with a third roommate, and have become good friends. We attend a Canadian university. I was born here while she is currently on a student visa from India. Her boyfriend recently was offered a very cool opportunity to attend an academic conference in the States over the March break. It's a big deal that he was asked to attend and the school will pay for his travel and accommodations. When he told her about this opportunity, he offered to split her plane ticket and she could stay in the hotel with him. Basically, he offered her 4 days in the States for the price of half a ticket, hotel, and meals covered. But here's the issue. She can't legally enter the US. Well, she can, but will need a visitor's visa, which she wouldn't be able to obtain in time for the trip. Because she's on a student visa, she's not allowed to cross the border, that's from Canada into the US. She's very upset that she's A, missing out on a great opportunity, and B, having plans with her boyfriend be changed. However, last night, things reached a bit of a boiling point. It's been 2 weeks of her dragging her feet and complaining about her boyfriend's trip, and while at first, we were both supportive, both me and my other roommates are starting to get a bit annoyed at the situation. Especially, she makes a lot of remarks about it not being fair that I am allowed to travel wherever I'd like. The comments I assumed weren't being serious until she explained to me that she genuinely thinks it isn't fair. Once she started complaining about my last minute US trip that is coming up, me and my boyfriend decided on a whim to take a road trip to the States. I started getting very annoyed. In the heat of the moment, I snapped and I pointed it out to her that she chose to come to Canada on a student visa, knowing the conditions of her being here. She didn't take too well to that and hasn't really spoken to me all day. I do feel bad that I snapped at her, but on the other hand, if she had chosen a different country or stayed in her home, she would be free to travel as she pleases. I don't know a whole lot about the immigration system or how unfair it might be, but she made the decision to come here, and in doing so, her rights to enter the States. Yeah, that was not complete. For context, she's told me quite a bit about her choice to study in Canada. She says she got bored after her bachelor's and applied to the first Canadian university she found online. She isn't living an unsafe household or area. So yeah, am I the asshole for pointing out my roommate chose to immigrate?
No, I mean, you chose to now.
Yeah, so, I mean, I feel like she's a little bit of an asshole. Like just a little bit. Just a little, because I feel like maybe she should have like had a conversation with her friend about why she's complaining so much. Okay.
Because she said she's been complaining.
No, I'm saying this from the standpoint of like, no need to be immigrants. And because like, it's not just about like, oh, you chose to leave your country, right? Because even if she's in India, she's probably still fucking needs a visa to get to the US anyways. So
True.
she's probably not complaining about the fact that like she's having to get a visa from Canada, but she's probably complaining about the fact that she's having to get a visa because she's
Indian,
right? So I feel like the roommate should have maybe tried to like engage her and maybe see if there were other perspectives that she was not, open herself to. But that being said, the complainer is the main asshole because girl, like, listen, like she's not your problem, okay? Go and face your government and face colonialism. Those are the reasons why you need a visa to go everywhere, okay? So like, there's no point like bitching to your friends, like, and your roommates
taking it out on them,
you live with them, right? So I don't think that makes any sense.
I mean, I get your point about how like maybe having a conversation, but it's also maybe they're not really friends like that.
It seems like they are friends.
It seems like they're friends, sure.
From the Reddit.
Yeah, she could do that, but
But yeah, I think it was also just interesting that it stood out to me that like it's very like most people that don't have to do with like having a not so great passport. Like they don't even think about it. It's not even that they don't get it. Like it's not even something that like I'm sure this was the first time this babe has probably ever encountered somebody that needed a visa to go to America.
So it's not something that like they think about.
It's not their reality.
It's not their reality.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it can be also very easy to dismiss.
Because you don't understand, like
you get like
it's like trying to explain to a British like Nigeria's traffic situation.
Exactly. Like for example, like I've moved to the UK, like I have permission from the United Kingdom government to reside in the United Kingdom. But that is not enough. I still need to go through almost a similar process that I would go to if I was back home in Nigeria to go to Spain or Germany or whatever else. Even
only you get it faster.
UK, right? Yeah, granted, but at the end of the day, like, same shit. I still have to provide bank statement and all this many, right? So it's like, even though I have proven to the United Kingdom's government that I am an exceptional
to person stay here,
that is deserving of their permission to fucking live in their country. Right? All other countries don't give a fuck about that.
You need to also tell them.
And they also need their own proof.
They need their proof,
right? So I feel like it can be easy to just dismiss because like, you have a British or an American passport. So everything is fine and dandy for you, right? But like for the rest of the world,
face.
But that being said, don't go like, don't go bitching to your, don't go making your friends' lives miserable because
please,
whatever. Okay, cool. If you want to, that's been our Village Square segment. If you want to participate, if you're dealing with any challenges or you need advice or you would like to participate in the Village Square segment on the Shrine Podcast, please send us an email. Our email address is theshrinepod@gmail.com. Include the subject TSP Village Square and we'll be sure to address those things on the show. Okay. Anything else?
No.
That's been it. For today.
Thank you for rocking with us. You can listen to other episodes of the Shrine Podcast anywhere you listen to podcast. Spotify, Google. Is that still Google Podcast? I didn't think so.
Yeah, I think did they shut that down? I don't know.
YouTube, podcast, everywhere. Just type the Shrine Podcast. It's going to pop up. Follow us on social media for behind the scene content, interesting content, all of that nice stuff, right? Twitter is at the Shrine Pod. Instagram is the Shrine.pod. TikTok is the Shrine Pod.
Okay.
TikTok is the Shrine Podcast. The Shrine Podcast. And email at the shrinepodcast@gmail.com. So, reach out to us, send us comments, send us your love, send us everything. And thank you to all of those that engage with our content online.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You guys are the real MVPs.
Everyone that engage with the content online. We love it. Sharing
small little, when we blow, we'll remember you people in our kingdom.
We'll remember you. Keep it going. Help us amplify, spread the news.
Please spread the news, share. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your family members.
Tell everyone you know.
Help our life, please. Actually, like if I could kneel down for you and beg, like I actually kneel down and beg. Thank you very much. Before we go, this wine. What's our wine rating? I'll have you go first.
I'll give you 5.5. I don't know. It's not.
You know what? Every time you've taken a sip of this wine, I've been looking at your face like you have a little disgust moment.
I'm sure the camera will catch it. Like, there's just something about it. It's trying to be premium, like Sauvignon Blanc, but like it's kind of giving like.
Maybe because it's organic. I don't know. Like, is there? Oh, this is an alternative white.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Like you're the wine person. So maybe because it's organic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
what's your own rating?
Oh, so on the sweetness scale that you have here is a 2. Oh, so
it doesn't even need to be sweet.
No. So it says from dry to sweet, right? And it's
so it's too
to the dry side. So it's a dry wine.
That's why.
I see. Okay, well, clearly.
No, but it's not even that. Because like there was a dry wine I took in. Yeah, it's not that. It's just
5.5. Let me give you one more taste.
That's not going to change whatever it is that the score is.
Yeah. Yo, I'll give it a 5.
Five,
it's just like middle of the road. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's just, in a pinch, you could get the Chenin Blanc, okay? Product of South Africa. Okay. That's the wine rating done. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you so much for working with us.
Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.
Same station.
Peace out.
Adios.
Bye.